Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Indy's Trusted Servant Show on InspireSmall.biz, with yours truly, Danny O'Malia, Indy's Trusted Servant. What's Indy's Trusted Servant? Well, I do customer service training and keynote speaking about customer service and organizational culture. It's all about the culture of the organization, and I learned all of that from the hand of the master, my late father, Joe O'Malia, back in the O'Malia Food Market days, and even before that, when Dad had a small grocery store in Broad Ripple that ultimately failed. And 10 years later, he came back and opened the first O'Malia's successfully. And one of the things I learned was never, ever, ever give up. What's the Indy's Trusted? So if you would like to learn more about my customer service keynoting or training, give me a call at 317-413-9062. What's the Indy's Trusted Servant Show on InspireSmall.biz? I like to describe it as lively local small biz and community talk where you can feel the pulse of Indy. And today, my guest is Keith Myers with the Sports Radio Network, but he's going to tell you a little bit more about how they've gone beyond radio. And we're talking high school sports on television, right, Keith?
Oh, yeah. It's Indiana SRN, and we've been around a long time. And Web TV is where it's taken at, Danny. I mean, people want every single kid to be on TV, and we do that service very well.
But before we do that, tell everybody about Keith Myers.
Keith Myers is a kid who has had many, many breaks in life, and I just want to share that. The Lord
Talk about it. You're an Indy native, first of all.
Yeah, I am.
Right?
I went to Howe High School. Don't hold that against me.
Not at all.
I graduated in 1978, and just been blessed. And the Lord has used the challenges in my life to do this network with Jerry Collins, and has done a great job. And we just love to put kids on TV so Grandma and Grandpa and people outside the Indiana area can watch it.
But you're jumping ahead again.
Okay.
You got to tell us more about Keith Myers.
Keith Myers, athletic director at a Christian school for many years, basketball official, football official for many years in the Indiana High School Athletic Association, married to a wonderful wife who is a liver transplant recovery, which is a miracle story in itself.
Yes.
And that's a little bit of Grandma, Grandpa, and have 5 wonderful kids, and love to put on sports. How about that?
So after Howe High School, now you talked about off the air, you had some injuries as a kid.
Yeah.
And some physical setbacks.
I lost my hearing for no fault of myself, and then at age 13 was hit by a car and was paralyzed for a while. And it's almost like you, Danny. To be honest with you, you saw where you could just quit. And there was something inside of me that said, there's something better for you to do to continue to pursue that.
And you wanted to be involved in sports.
Oh, from day one, yeah. I was a manager. I tried to play. One coach told me my early career, you'd be better if you would know how to do stats, or how to be a coach, or how to put programs together, because you're not going to be very good.
Well, I assume you were a little slow with being hit by a car and everything, right?
Yeah. So so that affected me a little bit. So I never gave up. And if you're out there and you have a dream, go for it, because unbelievable things can happen.
So where'd you go to college after Howe?
Didn't go to college. I did. I went to the Indiana Central for one day.
One day.
And realized that you had to work, and I didn't want to do that to be a college student. I wanted to put hands on, and I really wanted to be a professional umpire.
Okay.
And then got hit by a line drive in a Little League game, and that shattered that dream. And so, but sports have always been involved with me. I was the youngest president of a Little League called Community Little League on Forest Manor Drive when I was 19 years old.
Forest Manor and what?
21st Street.
Okay, because I taught at St. Andrew's School at 38th and Sherman, which was Forest Manor, but that's a little farther south of there. I didn't even know there was a Community Little League.
Community Little League, yep. Back in the day, District 7 with Bell East and Irvington.
Prentice?
And all those,
was Prentice in there?
I don't know if they were. I'm not sure.
Okay, no biggie. So keep going then. You started your career you went right to work. You didn't go to college.
I went
right?
to college, worked for a Hook Drug for a few years, and then
What'd you do for Hooks?
I was a liquor manager and merchandiser. I learned how to
Okay.
build little shelves and how to stock shelves and how to order merchandise. And in fact, one of our stores that I got to work was Joe's store there on Fall Creek, right by Cathedral High School.
Yeah, it was Hooks right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. right.
That's where I got my start, and then from there, Reliable Drug Stores came in town to Indianapolis, and they had me move to Madison, Indiana, and there I lived there for a couple years and was a Cub and a Hilltopper.
Now,
and
were you doing any umpiring or any officiating?
I was still
back then?
officiating, some officiating back then.
Yeah.
I got really big in it when I came back to Indianapolis. Left the drugstore industry and went to long-term care. Worked for healthcare for
Okay.
a few years, and then the Lord got me, and I became an athletic director. And I started.
Where were you the athletic director?
I was athletic director at three places: East Lawn Christian School, which was on 34th and Post. Northeastwood Christian was at 30th and Post, because East Lawn sold the school to Northeastwood.
Okay.
And then I was fortunate to be the first athletic director at Horizon Christian School, and that's where I started doing radio and athletic director.
Now, where's Horizon Christian School?
Horizon is at 7702 Indian Lake Road.
Now, they don't. None of those have high school teams.
Yes, and Horizon did, and also Northeastwood did, but we were very small. We didn't compete, and either does Horizon.
Not in the IHSA.
No, we do not.
Okay, gotcha.
I started the Christian State Tournament when I was there at Northeastwood, and that tournament is still going on to this day.
How many Christian schools like that are there around the state, would you say? Guess.
That's not in
guess
the
to-
association any longer.
Right.
Probably 40, 45.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
At one time, there was probably 56 or 60.
Some of them moved up to the association.
Yes, a Heritage Christian would be one of those. Bethesda
Lutheran,
would be,
etc.
I don't know if Lutheran ever played in the Christian school state tournament, but Bethesda did, and I know Heritage Christian also.
Okay. Yeah, Heritage Christian, of course, has made a good splash.
They have.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
one of our clients, so we
Yeah,
can
very
can
good.
do a shout out to the Eagles. Yes.
Okay, go Eagles. A good. I'll tell you a great story about Heritage Christian. As you may know, I lost my daughter in a murder-suicide 8 years ago, and a friend of mine, this is a little off the topic, but this is good. A friend of mine called me and said, we want to help you redo your house. We know you want to redo your main floor, which is where all this sadness took place. And he says, I've got a lot of friends in Habitat for Humanity and stuff. Well, people came in and they started to redo our house the way my wife wanted it. We'd lived there for 40 years. At some point, a load-bearing wall was taken out, and an 800-pound steel beam had to be placed up in where the load-bearing wall had been. And for pizza and Cokes on a Saturday morning, the Heritage Christian offensive and defensive line showed up and toted that 800-pound steel beam up into the ceiling.
Ron
So I've
Falls.
got a good feeling for Heritage Christian.
Good for them.
Yeah. Okay, so let's keep going into how did all this lead you to, and your logo there is the SRN logo there, right?
Yeah. What happened, Danny, to be honest with you, we were very good athletically at Horizon, and no one wanted to play us, and we wasn't getting the coverage. So I found a old sound system and a Verizon netbook, and I created Indiana SRN by doing
You created it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We broadcasted our games over the internet. The
Well,
crazy
what year
thing,
would that have been?
2004.
Okay, so 18 years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the crazy thing about that is no one had an iPhone and no one knew how to get to it. So, a lot of people were saying, this is not ever going to work. And I believe that it was, because the Lord gave me a scripture long ago when we started this company, is therefore go make disciples in all nations. So our whole entire purpose is to make sure that young men and young women can be seen and they can go out and show their talent. And that's what we want to do. And so
you stuck with it.
we sure
that
did.
time.
Yeah. At that point, I was very fortunate that our pastor, Bill Goodridge, allowed me to do the morning drive show at a radio station that was owned by the church. So I got to do morning drive by my chauffeur today. And
Okay.
and so we did that for a few years, and it just started to build up. And one day I had a relationship with Art Hurley at Cecina High School, and I said, hey, this is what we want to do. We'd like to try to do this for your football games.
I taught Ott Hurley's little brother at St. Andrews.
Is that right?
Back in the 70s. Yeah, Andy Hurley, great family.
Yeah.
Great Indianapolis family.
Yeah, Art loves to eat biscuits and gravy at the steer-in.
Oh, the steer-in. One of those,
you know about the steer-in.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Near East Side Drive-In restaurant that's still operating.
Yeah, great place.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So we did Cecina football for 1 year.
Okay.
And that grew into more.
Now, what year would that have been?
I think that was 2005, 2006.
Was Ott the coach then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I knew Kenny Leffler. Kenny Leffler was a great man, but Ott was the coach in fact, Ott's still the coach to this day, and Cecina still does a lot of games on Indiana SRN. Then Morrisville came on board with us. So we started small. About 6 years ago, got a business partner, and he said we need to do video. And
you weren't doing video till 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we started doing video 6 years ago, and we have grown to about 25 schools.
Cool.
We do over 360 games a year. We are now in college. We do Division III college with the Heartland Conference.
What are some of the colleges?
Anderson, Bluffton, Earlham, Rose-Hulman, Mount St. Joseph, Manchester. Let me get them all. Rose-Hulman and Transylvania.
Interestingly enough, it's Mount St. Joseph, right?
Yes.
Back in the day when I was at Xavier, we had a Division I football team. We dropped the football. Mount St. Joseph is an all-girls Catholic school, much like Marion used to be, although Marion went co-ed way before Mount St. Joe's, but they went co-ed and put a football team together. And I never would have dreamed back when we had Division I football at Xavier that Mount St. Joe would have a team and Marion would have a team, but we wouldn't. On the other hand, our basketball teams made up for it, but that's another story. So the current thing is you've got this Heartland College conference with all these small, very good schools.
Division III schools, yep.
And 25 high schools, right?
Yeah, last year we did 99 visits to gymnasiums for just basketball, but we did a lot of volleyball. We do soccer, volleyball. We do them all, baseball, softball.
Okay, for you sports fans out there, and how do you find out how to watch the games, and what schools you're not going to name all 25 high schools. You named Cecina and Mooresville, obviously. But how do you find out more about this?
They can go to our website at indianasrn.org. There's a link of the games that we have already lined up for the schedule. Our fall schedule will be announced July 7th. So it's
already up there.
Yeah,
okay,
so
good,
they can check out and see our schedule. We always look for sponsors because we need people to help support these kids to put those on the opportunity to get them on World Wide Web.
So what sports we got? You mentioned football and basketball. Do you do other sports?
Football, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, baseball, softball. What else is there?
You do track, wrestling?
We have done wrestling. In fact, we have worked for Chittard High School a couple of times to do wrestling. We've done the city tournament in wrestling and the sectional at Tech High School the last 3 or 4 years. Whatever sports out there, we do that. Plus, we do other sports shows. We do Down the Line with the Indianapolis Indians once a month.
Oh, yeah?
With them.
Okay.
And we also do a show called The Sports Zone, which is at Aspen Creek Grill on Thursday, every Thursday, to talk high school sports and invite coaches in.
Okay, let's go to that show you're talking about at the grill. How do you how do you watch that?
It's live, and then they can watch it on the replay, just like your show. You watch it over on. We have a YouTube channel called Indiana SRN, where there are 700 archived games on there. So
these are interviews at the grill, right?
Yes,
right.
Yes, at the Aspen Creek Grill. Yeah, with coaches or celebrities. We highlight. We just did a lacrosse show last month. Brought in the coach from Marion College, the female coach, to talk a little bit about lacrosse and how the game has changed.
I have a grandson who's going to be a junior at Cathedral, and he plays lacrosse. and a couple
Very
of weeks.
good ball club.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, your varsity team's been very good. He's a midi, and if you know lacrosse, the midi brings the ball up from the defenders to the scorers.
Gets whacked a lot.
So he gets whacked a lot. He's a midi because he's fast. At any rate, lacrosse is really an up-and-coming sport.
Yes.
He's on a travel team. It's a Cathedral players team. They played in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin a couple of weeks ago. They're playing in Erie, Pennsylvania next week. That's crazy stuff. Lacrosse is a sport on the move.
Yeah, we have been very blessed. 3 years ago or 4 years ago, they approached us. We just started webcasting, and they gave us the opportunity to do state finals, and we have done the state finals ever since then. Viewership has been crazy with lacrosse, women's lacrosse or girls lacrosse. We just did their state finals this year. Unbelievable amount of viewership. And, lacrosse is probably the fastest growing sport.
It probably is.
In the spring, baseball is dying a little bit, which is really kind of disappointing to me because I'm a baseball guy.
Yeah.
But with the baseball lacrosse schedule that we had this year, it's crazy. If people want to go back and watch some of that, they could watch those on archives.
What's your relationship, if there is any, with the IHSAA?
We are an affiliate with them, so they use a lot of our broadcast and they put it on their website.
Okay.
We are the only, that I know, we're the only one broadcasters that do 5 football games every Friday night on video.
5 football games?
We do 5 football games every Friday night. In fact, when we release our schedule, we will have over 60 football games on Indiana SRN.
Well, that leads me to another question. If you're doing, let's say, 5 football games on a Friday night, that means you got to have 5 people covering those games.
We have to have
games.
We have to have 5 producers, 5 camera guys.
Now that costs money, right?
Yeah, yes, sir, it does.
So aside from sponsorships, do you have any kind of other fundraising ability?
Yeah, there's a lot of, we do a rotating ad on our network, which on the left-hand corner, businesses can purchase a rotating ad. So every 10 seconds, there's an ad that pops up. And those are little donors that, $500 here and there makes a difference of how many games we can put on. So we do a rotating ad. If one person want to put a 30-second spot on, we can do that as well.
So let me think this through. There's 5 different football games. Would they might have 5 different sponsors, neighborhoody type sponsors?
That's the whole idea of doing that. Yes.
Yeah. And again, it all comes back to the SRN website.
Yes.
Right? Which
SRN
is again,
and the ISSA.TV. It's on that and it's on YouTube as well. So
ISSA.TV.
Yeah, so there's 3 ways they could watch the game. In fact, we've had people from Brazil and Puerto Rico, and actually we have missionaries from Ukraine who watches our athletics
my
program.
Goodness.
And when my son-in-law was in Afghanistan a few years back,
was he in the service?
Yes.
Okay.
And they watched a Friday night football game live.
Okay, so your son-in-law is from here.
No, my son-in-law is from Michigan.
Okay, but he's in Afghanistan, but he knew about this through you.
Yes.
So how does somebody from Brazil, is that somebody that's moved from here to...
Yeah, actually, he's a donor, actually. Moved his family from Indianapolis to Brazil, and he still catches the games.
He wants to watch these games.
He watches, Indiana sports is the best sports in the whole entire world.
Well, I don't argue that. That's great. So those Friday night football games, let's stick with that for just a minute. Okay. What are those 5 schools?
Well, it depends because there's 5 different schools. But this year, Evansville Memorial has joined our network, a family network.
Okay.
South Bend St. Joseph has also Covenant Christian, Traders Point, Franklin Central. We're going to be down at Franklin Central a couple of times.
That's the first public school you've mentioned.
Yes, we have a couple.
Are these mostly smaller schools?
Yeah, Class 3, Class 4. Cathedral is one of our schools that we do some volleyball for them. We have done some basketball for them in the past. We do all of the city championship games for the boys and girls basketball. We have done that for the last 7 years.
So and they're live, right?
Live.
If your school's in the city championship,
you're going to watch it live.
You're probably going to be playing Cathedral, by the way.
We had 8,000 a couple of years ago. We talked about this off the air. A couple of years ago, we had 8,000 viewers watch the Christmas Addicts Cathedral game.
And 4,000 at the game.
Yes.
Right?
So there was 12,000 opportunities to see kids play, and there's some great athletic kids.
Do you do the county tournament or
We
just
do
the
not.
city tournament?
We do not. We're negotiating that. So we believe we can get that done. So we hope so.
That's just awesome. So what have been, obviously the financing of all this is a challenge. I mean, you got to have these people spread out filming these games. You got to pay. Most of them aren't volunteers, I take it, right?
That's right.
So you've got to pay that. Talk about sponsorships a little bit. Let's say you wanted to sponsor Franklin Central, just the school you just mentioned. What would a sponsorship cost, or do you have various levels?
There's various levels. If they wanted to buy the whole entire football package, there's a level.
Meaning every game?
Every game.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And then there's a game day sponsorship, which is another level. But if they want to contact me at Indiana SRN coach at indianasrn.org, we can pass that information along.
Okay, it's probably too technical and time consuming to get in on this, but you could buy one game.
You could buy one game.
Or
You could
buy
buy
the whole season.
Yes, and with the Heartland Conference, going back to the Division III Heartland Conference, if you would like to purchase games that way to get Anderson or those schools on as well, we do that as well.
Okay. Do the high school stuff outdraw the Division III college stuff from your perspective?
You know, the data is, I've only got 2 years of looking at that. There are some high school schools that draw better than probably the college football. A lot of that is, Danny, college football plays on Saturday afternoon.
And they're watching the big schools.
They're watching the big schools.
Right, yeah, or they're attending.
But the replays, because we archive everything that we do, the replays are huge, especially for sponsorship, because it's a double shot for you, because you sponsor it live and then you get it back on the replay.
Well, and I think we emphasize the replays here. We say, if you can't watch the show at 3 o'clock Monday, don't worry. Just go to the website and scroll down, and there's Keith, right? Or whoever.
Right.
So the fact that it's up permanently is a huge value to the advertiser.
And the neat thing with YouTube, as you know, they don't delete anything after 7 years. They put it up on the cloud, so you can always capture.
Find it.
In fact, we still have, to this day, we have our first broadcast we've ever done of a football game at Park Tudor High School. And
from what year?
5 years ago. And kids are still watching that to this day. In fact, the city tournament that I mentioned, those are still gaining archives.
That's fantastic. So now, how many employees do you guys have?
We have 32 independent broadcasters, so they're all independent. And then we also then have a production team that is headed by our CEO, Jerry Collins, and then our camera crews.
Now, that reminds me, let's take the 5 Friday night football schools.
Okay.
You got to have a guy filming the game and broadcasting the game.
Right.
You got to have 2 people there.
2 guys in the booth, and then a production coordinator, and then the camera guy.
So that's 4 people.
4 people each Friday night.
Just for those 20
people each Friday night.
So you've got a big nut to break. And I'm sure these people aren't paid, what the Pacers make or anything, but that's a big nut to break.
Dollars are dollars.
Yes.
As I was taught.
Are you guys a not-for-profit?
No, we are not.
We're
not. For-profit.
You are a for-profit business. Yes. Okay. Well, I think I love what you're doing. I really didn't know much about it before I met you guys, but I think it's a very valuable service to the community and to the families of these kids.
The interesting thing that we're finding is, after games, family members will email me, because I always tell them how to email me, or they can follow us on Twitter. The comments that we get of people. We did the Heartland baseball finals, and how many people watched the 4.5-hour marathon that was the championship game.
But how many innings do you know?
We played 9, but it took 4 hours and 22 minutes. College baseball. Don't live with it.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's the longest game in history.
Well, no, the longest game in history is Notre Dame football, because they have ads that are longer than the games, right? But that's a whole nother issue. Keith,
don't be knocking my sponsors.
No, I'm not knocking. I'm just saying those games really take a long time.
Fortunately, the Indiana High School Athletic Association says you only have a 1-minute spot to get that done. You know, we're not college football where we take 7 minutes for a TV timeout.
Yeah, yeah. Well, once again, you mentioned your email as opposed to the website. You want to share your email?
Email is coach@indianasrn.org. And then our website is indianasrn.org. You can click on for any information. If you like to follow us on Twitter, which is the great way because we continuously update our schedule and do a lot of active with that, and that's at indianasrn.
And the schedule's already up. And what's the opening weekend for high school football this year? Do you know? Well, I know it's August.
It's 19th, I think.
August 19th or somewhere in there.
Yes.
So be ready.
5 big games on that Friday night.
And mention the schools again.
That Friday night will be Evansville. I do believe Evansville, Traders Point, Covenant Christian, and Heritage Christian is at 4, and
Franklin Central.
And Franklin Central.
Okay, so if you're fans of those schools, get geared up for. Heck, it's just a month away.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it fun?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Baseball season just ended 2 weeks ago. I had a week vacation. Well, we don't have vacations, and then we've been hitting it pretty hard.
Did you follow the state finals at Victory Field?
Yes, we got to do the state finals on our internet radio station, and
my boys didn't have their hitting clothes on that night.
Yeah,
Penn
looked pretty impressive. I tell you, that Andrean Ball Club looked pretty impressive as well.
Oh, to beat that pitcher at Brebeuf, that was something else.
The cool thing, and I can close with this, we were invited to do the Indiana baseball and softball state championships, and we got to do the all-star games, and a shout out to those directors, outstanding, and the viewership was crazy. People love watching kids on TV.
They like to watch their kids, their nephews, their grandkids,
and we need
the
your
neighbors,
help.
everybody.
Yep, that'd be awesome.
Keith, SRN, High School Sports on TV, thanks for being our guest today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Indy's Trusted Servant Show. If you liked this episode, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. The Indy's Trusted Servant Show is produced by InspireSmall.biz in Indianapolis, Indiana. For more episodes of the Indy's Trusted Servant Show, visit www.inspiresmall.biz/Indy's Trusted Servant. Thanks for watching.